Okay, my last few sessions took place in the Sun system, which consists of 14 planets. So Shale, Marcus, and myself were meeting up with one of our informants. His name is Sinclair Zadex, for lead for a new bounty. And the bounty that we ended up taking was a young girl named Macy, who had recently gone missing. So we met with Sinclair at a dive bar called the Mouse Club, and it's in an industrial mining region. Their main resource is a mineral that's used to produce starship fuel. After meeting with Sinclair, we also met with Capital at this same bar. A purpose in meeting with Capital was to recruit her to join our team temporarily, just for this mission. I believe my oracle had something to do with us, deciding to take that on. I believe my oracle had something to do with us taking that on as a goal, probably just to increase our probability of success. But that's just a guess at this point. It's been a while. Either way, needless to say, Marcus was not happy about the idea of even forming an alliance with Capital temporarily. Capital and Marcus have a pretty unfavorable history, to put it mildly. Capital is responsible for what we coined the fall of Marcus, and it's a period of time where he pretty much went through an existential crisis after Capital beat the trash out of him. She's actually the first person, only person that I'm aware of at this point who's ever bested Marcus in combat, and his ego suffered tremendously from that for a time, where he was pretty much just unsure of himself, and very sensitive to things that were said, just thinking that things were slights towards him, or his ability, or his capability in any way. So yeah, he went through a period where he just wasn't sure of himself, but he got back on track. He actually it made him better. It made him more serious and more disciplined in a lot of regards later on, but that's neither here nor there. At this point in time, Marcus was still kind of recovering from that defeat, and he was not happy about the idea of teaming up with Capital, to the point where we didn't know if there would be any violence just by them being around each other. But he did agree to keep the peace if she decided to join the team. And with that, Shale and I met with Capital, and Marcus waited outside just so that things could go a little bit more smoothly. But yeah, we talked with Capital. She was also reluctant for the same reasons, that she wasn't sure how Marcus would take it, and if we'd be able to coexist. But she was willing to try for the sake of the little girl involved. That kind of softened her up when she heard what the mission was. So, boom, we got our team, and if we're not already there, we head to Sun 2. Sun 2 is the 7th planet in this solar system, and it's an agricultural planet. This is the planet where Macy, the little girl, had been abducted. We met with her mother, Maddie, and her brother, Janus, and that was not a smooth meeting. Mom was very off-putting and guarded at first. She really didn't even want to entertain having us at her door. We had to talk to her through the front door. She was just that guarded. I don't know if she had dealt with a lot of solicitation around the disappearance of her daughter or what, but she just wasn't very helpful, which didn't make much sense to me at the time, because it's like, people are trying to help you find your daughter. Why are you acting like this? Why wouldn't you want to help? Why wouldn't you want the help? So yeah, that kind of put me off to her, and had me looking at her sideways. And my approach, from that point, was probably a lot more. Uh, well, there was no attack in my approach at that point. I was probably attacking her more than I was trying to sway her to our side. And Shale picked up on that, and she kind of jumped in and took the more diplomatic and smooth approach. She was able to smooth things over to the point where Maddie did allow us to talk to Janus about his sister and about her disappearance. Janus was the last person to see her. So, yeah. Uh, Aside from like the brothers' depiction of metal monsters with red eyes and the smell of sour smoke, that had snatched the girl up, there wasn't really much for us to go off of. And we decided that we needed to basically just call it a night because it was already evening, and just to collect more data in the morning. I forgot, it was also disclosed that uh, Maisie was able to fly. She was special among her people. I feel like Janus may have let that slip, and Mom wasn't happy about that. But that was something. Also, while Shale was smoothing things over, um, I was trying to get inside of Maddie's mind to figure out why she was being so standoffish. Um, and while doing so, I did realize it was very difficult, more difficult than I had expected to actually like penetrate her mind. So there's something special to these people. So we debriefed on the way back to the ship about what was gathered in that conversation with the family, and we put together a plan for what we could do, how we could tackle things the next morning. Marcus was going to go back to the town hall, gather more information. Shale was going to go to the national office, and Capital and I were going to go to a local library where we could get some information from periodicals from like their archive room. So that was our plan for the next day. We all pretty much hit the hay. And I think at some point I probably picked up on something, or maybe heard some sounds coming from Capital's room, which just sparked inquiries. I tried to use my focus to like close the distance between us emotionally, so that I could try to pick up on what she may have been dreaming about that was causing her, so much discomfort. And it kind of worked. I wasn't able to see what she was seeing to a great extent. I got like glimpses or small visuals, or picked up on, I think smells and things of that sort. But it was basically a situation where she was being held captive. I think she was probably malnourished and definitely mistreated. And yeah, all the horrible feelings that would come along with something like that. I was picking up from her while she was asleep. Anyways, the next morning we sought out to complete our objectives. So Marcus at the town hall, Shale at the national office, Capital and I teaming up at the library. And I pretty much established like a open communication between the four of us, so that we could just try to give each other updates whenever we found something helpful. Capital and I found that about 5 years ago, a miner was taken from the town in a similar scenario. Both occurred in the fall, both in the evening, and both were last seen in a field. I passed this information along to the team, and they were also able to gather some information. So we also picked up that a young girl named Sue Lee, 8 years ago, disappeared in the same way. And then Asha Daria, 11 years ago, disappeared in the same town. So that was the information that we had gathered, and I'm pretty sure that that's where things had ended at. I feel like we were like on the brink of tying it to a corporation, but that information, if that's even the case, I don't have that information. So I'm reluctant to say that with any certainty.